Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IAC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Check out the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. We appreciate that. And Doug McGee is with me right now. Doug, I got to tell you something. We're about to add another podcast.
Oh,
so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So Doug McGee and Wanda McGee there with Second Chance Animal Shelter. One of my, I'll tell you, this is it. If I died and I had nobody in my will, I'd put you guys in there. I'm telling you, this is that important. It really is. Let's talk about heat. I have passed by some houses here lately, and I've seen poor dogs. It's like they're tied up. And there's not even, I'm looking real hard to see a water pail or something with plenty of water in it. If you're going to tie your dog up, at least give it some water, right?
Yeah, technically it's illegal. In Alabama, the few laws we do have, you have to have food, water, and shelter provided for your dog. And the problem is, if it's chained up to a tree 100 yards from the house, 100 yards from the road, nobody knows. Unless somebody happens to be there and see it, nobody reports it. So poor dogs. I have spent this past week, and I have thought poor dog so many times, and it's been a tough week on that end. We got a Yorkie this morning from up at Kilpatrick, and first thing I thought, poor dog, it's so matted up. Its eyes, the hair has grown kind of into its eyes, so it can't see. When it's older, it's been a rough week on me and dealing and seeing how people are treating these animals. And, the animal control from Albertville came out here a little while ago, and he was talking about he's had more calls of dogs that, chained up with no water. And he's been out. That's what he's been doing, is trying to run people down and getting on them. You need to feed and water your dogs. Don't have them. If you're going to get me going. Now, I have been told that I can really go 1,000 different directions, and that's just the way I am. Mm-hmm. But last night when I went to bed, our big dog Chloe was laying in the bed, and she was on my side of the bed. And I went in and I said, "Chloe, you got to move." That's all I said. And she looked at me. She was asleep, got up, and she moved. I thought that dog understood everything I said. And I think all animals, they understand more. And how can we treat something? It's almost like you're treating human. She knows. She knew what she needed to do. As soon as I walked in there, I had to say, "Hey, you need to move." Mm-hmm. She got up and moved to another section so I could lay down. And they understand. Animals understand more than we give them credit for. And I think someday we're going to really regret the way we treat them. And
I think so too, Doug. I think so too. And I've told this analogy before. It's not an analogy. This is actually something that happened. So we feed the animals, and we probably overfeed them, to tell you the truth. But I just want to make sure that I can't stand the thought of a human or an animal hungry. I just can't handle it. I just can't do that. So this is so funny, though. So Buddy actually acted like he was going to start getting into Greenlee's food. So Buddy's the dog, Greenlee's the cat. So I looked at Buddy and I said, "No, Buddy, that's Greenlee's food." And Buddy he turned around and walked away. It shamed him. But now Greenlee, on the other hand, Greenlee tries to get into Buddy's food. And I said, "No, Greenlee, that's Buddy's food." And Greenlee just looked at me like, "What's to it?"
Yeah, I think cats understand this too, but cats don't care. Cats say, "I understand what you're saying."
That's true.
I don't really care.
But they knew. But see, you just made the point. They knew. Buddy knew he shouldn't be into Greenlee's food.
So they have an understanding.
I shamed him, and he walked off.
Yeah, and just like Chloe, she knew. She communicated with me. That's really what we did. I said something, she understood it, and she moved. And I do think someday, I don't know why I've really been having trouble lately with just seeing all the way these dogs I just don't understand people. I really don't.
And chickens too. So here's something else I do. I feed the chickens like they're all pets. And so I like to feed them popcorn. And so they love popcorn. So what I did is I kind of threw it off the deck at them. But this is all you have to do. All you got to go is chickens. Let's get some popcorn. That's all you got to do. They come running from out of nowhere. They know. So they'll come over there. Well, Buddy came over there and I said, now, Buddy, that's for the chickens. Like
And
that to him. I said, I'll get you your food in just a minute. That's the chicken's food. He had enough sense to walk off. I mean, he knew that wasn't his.
Yes, that's what I say. We actually communicated and he understood. And maybe it's a nonverbal. I don't know how they understand, but they understand what we're saying. And that being said, they have to understand when we treat them like horribly. I mean, they have to, it has to have an effect on them. Their feelings. I mean, they have feelings. They get it.
No, I think it's verbal because this is something else. And I got to be quiet so Buddy doesn't hear this. All you got to do is say, Buddy, you want to go fishing? He goes nuts. The word fishing, he knows where it is. He knows it's the pond. And he starts running out there and barking for us to hurry up. So we've learned to keep him from barking so much. We're going ahead and get the fishing gear ready and then say, Buddy, you ready to go fishing?
Yeah. Hey, once again, who knows how long it'll take. Humans tend to be slower than I would like to grasp concepts and stuff. But who knows how long. Eventually, we're going to be going like, I cannot believe that we treated these animals like that because they actually did understand what was happening to them. A lot of people think, oh, they don't, but I don't know. I think we're missing the mark. A lot of humans are missing the mark horribly on the way they treat their animals.
How many times has there been maybe a death in the family or something just happened crazy and you just had a rough day or whatever? They seem to be exceptionally loving too. They'll come up to you and it's almost like they're hugging you. I mean, they know without you saying a word. There
is a connection that I don't think we understand. And even though I like to think maybe I understand it a little bit, it's probably a lot deeper than even I understand. We tend to focus on dogs and pets, but I think all animals probably have an understanding that we're not there yet. I wish I could live 10,000 years old just to see how things work out. I mean, I don't want to live forever and lose all my, I'm just saying, I'd like to really see how it all turns out. In our relationship with nature and animals and all that kind of stuff. It's got to be, we missed the mark. And maybe it's just where we are.
Phenomenal. I think it's a beautiful thing. I really do. And people who are mistreating these animals are missing out.
Mm-hmm. That's one reason I really am striving to be a vegetarian. And it's hard. It's very difficult because, I was raised, meat every meal and all this stuff. And I still there, but it's getting easier. The further I go into it, the easier it gets because I'm starting to. Once again, I think about things about like slaughterhouses and stuff now, and it really does. It makes me a lot more. I don't know. It's just I want to be. My goal is a personal goal is to become a vegetarian in the next probably 5 years. It's slow, taking my time, enjoying the trip, but still, because I once again.
Something you just made another point. And a lot of and I just want to mention this, I'm trying to gross everybody out, but a lot of the meats that you're buying at the grocery store come from China. They're not coming from here. They're coming from this area. And we have a sponsor, Lone Tree Ranch. Lone Tree Ranch is in Collinsville, Alabama, and that's where we buy all of our beef because of the way they treat their animals. And it's like they're kind of, it's like they're almost free range or something. They take good care of them and that nobody kicks them. It's not like they're all in like one little bitty room somewhere. It's nothing like that. They've got an open field that they can live their life and it's really humane. But you don't know what they're doing to like the meat that you're eating. I don't know. The meat you're eating at the grocery store, that grosses me out. I don't want to make it off. I'm just saying, I don't know. It may say USA, but that doesn't mean that it's been processed in the USA.
And two, I've seen videos of these big cattle farms or whatever, not ranches even, where they pack them all in there and there's no grazing. No, they just kind of raise them, kill them. I think that's a free range. I love that idea. I know it would be costly, but if I ate less meat, I don't know. There's so many. I think make them happy until, if we're going to eat them, at least have them, don't let them suffer a horrible life until we kill them. Put them out there, let them enjoy grazing, and then surprise on the day we put them
around here that have cattle. I've seen them mistreating their cattle.
Oh,
and
we
you're
got
like,
got a neighbor right over there?
I have cousins who rent out our land out here,
Mhm.
and they're so kind to those animals. And so I asked Brian. I said, now I treat them like they're pets. I said, I might name them. I mean, like that. Well, he was okay with it.
Yeah, see,
But now his dad was one of them that would mistreat them,
Yeah.
kick them and stuff like that. And I always hated that.
When I was growing up, my granddad was a cattle rancher, and he had his rule was 1 cow per acre. That's kind of his grazing philosophy or whatever.
Mhm.
And we've got a neighbor over here that's got probably 40 cows in a 2-acre lot. There's no grass at all. There is 0 grass, and it's acceptable. Now they feed them. They give them hay. They get hay, and I don't know what else they get.
Yeah, but they need green grass too.
There's not a green blade of green grass in that pasture. One day last year, our other neighbor was bush hogging on the other side of the road, and all those cows were lined up at that fence. You could just tell. In my mind, they were just like, oh, the grass is over there, and there is no grass.
Mhm.
I feel sorry for them. Once again, they're probably going to end up being dinner somewhere. But until that point, I just wish that we had a more humane strategy for, they need to be allowed to live their life until their life is over.
So you just don't know what's being sold at cattle auction and all that kind of stuff.
No.
That's what I like about where we get ours. I don't buy meat from the grocery store.
Yeah, I do when I buy meat anymore, but I'm really consciously and internally trying to become a vegetarian. It's going to take a while, which makes me feel weak because I can't just say, nope, I'm done. But I'm just trying to do better, Well,
in the meantime, when you buy beef, and it's cheaper per pound anyway, Lone Tree Ranch. They're located out there in Collinsville, Alabama.
You can actually buy from them then, the ranch?
Yes.
Okay. Uh-huh. That's what my brother-in-law just did. He got some really good free-range kind of beef, and he says it's the best beef he'd ever had.
The best hamburger meat, the best steaks you have ever had.
Yeah, I don't want it to be too good because I won't ever become a vegetarian.
You won't become a vegetarian with these because I'm going to tell you, they're really good. But again, friendly cows, they're all happy. They do the processing. They take care of the process. Everything is done. Lone Tree Ranch, you got to go check them out. We've got to go into a commercial break.
Oh, wow.
Let's go into a commercial break. That already half the show. We'll be right back in just a minute. Everybody hang in there. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities. Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IEC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Check out the podcast, netsnewsnetwork.net. And if you have any questions or any suggestions, send an email to Donna at donnasedge.com. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. I have Doug McGee with me right now, and he's with Second Chance Animal Shelter. Love that place. This is a rescue for animals. And so we've been talking about this. If you're keeping your animals all tied up, first of all, I'm sorry, you're just a bad person if you do that. And you got to make sure they have water. If it's something you have to do, then have water. Now, Buddy is very protective of Phil and me. We live out in the country. He hates everybody but me and Phil. Even if you came out, I promise you, Doug, he'd bark his head off at you. So if we know somebody's coming over, we don't tie him up to a tree with whatever people would use, chains or whatever. We have an area where he goes and he stays. And it's a big enough area where he's okay. You know what I mean? Right. He's not tied up, and there's always plenty of water. There's always, plenty for him to eat and what have you. And there are different things that maybe you were raised that way, folks. Maybe, you don't know any better. You think it's what dogs need, to be tied to a chain to a tree. That's not necessary.
And, I've wondered about this. I think it's economics. One day I was thinking, if you drive through, say, a country club area in Albertville or wherever, you'll not see a dog on a chain. You drive through most upper class neighborhoods, you'll never see a dog chained out.
Mhm.
It's when you start getting into the lower income neighborhoods that's the problem. And then I'm not saying that poor people are bad people, but I think economics has a whole lot to do with their ability. People with money can build fences. People with no money can't, so they secure their dogs by chaining them up. Of course, my answer is let the dog be inside. Make him part of the family. Take him off that chain. Let him be in the house with you. That's the way we live. And we're poor people. I mean, we're definitely don't have economics has nothing to do with us, but still, I think it has a lot to do with economics. Is one reason that you see dogs chained up. It's just they don't have the money. A lot of people say they don't have the money for a fence, so they don't build a fence. They just get a chain so.
Well, what are
Money.
some questions people need to ask themselves? Maybe you need to have a roundtable discussion with your family. So, what are some questions that you need to ask all the family members? Should each person have a job that pertains to the animal? Maybe one person feed it, one person clean it, make sure their utensils are all clean. What questions should you ask?
That's a plan. Come up with a plan. In our house, I take care of the litter boxes. We have cats, and I take care of the litter boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And Wanda takes care of the dogs. And
Mm-hmm.
if the dog has an accident in the house, that's Wanda's thing. And of course, we share that responsibility too. Sometimes if I'm sidetracked, she'll take care of the cats, and other times, so I'm more the cat caretaker, and that's just the way we've evolved.
Mm-hmm.
She pretty much feeds all of them. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to get a pet, if you're thinking about it, I mean, figure out ahead of time who's going to take responsibility for what. If you have a young kid, that'd be the good, maybe to walk her. If you have to walk
It's
them,
a great way to teach a kid responsibility.
absolutely get them some exercise. So that's a good thing. I think too many people. That's one reason I'm reluctant to do adoption events. We have them a lot. A lot of people, when you get a pet on an impulse, a lot of times you're just not ready for what it entails. We've had a lot of people get a dog home and find out they never knew, but one of the family members is allergic. And, it has come back because they can't have a person with allergies in the home with some dogs. There's just now, when we started the shelter, we had no plan at all. And we've had a lot of problems because of that. Same way, if you had decided to adopt a dog before you even do anything, I would sit down with your people that live in your house and say, what do we want? What are we looking for in a dog? And if everybody, and this may offend somebody, if everybody in your house weighs 500 pounds, you don't need a dog that's going to be bouncing around all the time. You need a more sedate dog. If everybody in your house is hyperactive, then by all means, get yourself a rat terrier or something that can, the same, they operate the same. If everybody in your house is 110 years old, you don't need a puppy. Just little common sense things. If you spend 10 minutes of thinking about what you want before you commit to the shelter to get a dog, will save you a lot of grief and a lot of surprises. So I definitely, if your family's talking about getting a dog, sit down and say, now, what do we want in a dog? And maybe everybody in the house, some of them may want a big dog. Some of them, husbands generally want the big dogs. Wives generally want the small dog. We see
I like
that.
my big dog.
Oh, yeah. See, you would be the exception. Most people coming here, that's the big argument. The man wants a big dog. The wife wants a small lap dog. And another thing to check, if you're doing this, if you live in a rental house or a housing authority or something like that, find out the rules of your landlord. A lot of times we've had people come out and they just fall in love with the dog. They take it, and as soon as they get back, their landlords come over and said, you can't have that dog. It's too big, 30-pound weight limit. It's in the contract. So investigate a little bit where you live. If you rent a house or live in a government housing or anything, know the rules because you won't be able to survive that. Know about pet deposits. We had a guy come here last week, and he moved into a place, and he has 2 dogs, and the pet deposits were $350 for the first year and $150 a year after that. And this guy had no way to do that. One of our volunteers offered to pay his pet deposit, and then it kept getting bigger. It's like, well, the dog has to be spayed. You can't live there. The dog has to have all this. So it would have been almost $500 or $600 to move into that place. The guy had already moved, so now he has no choice but to get rid of his dogs because he doesn't have the income. So know your your landlords, all your rules at the thing, know your cities. Albertville has a vicious dog ordinance, which ties into pit bulls.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're moving to Albertville and you're thinking, oh, or if you live in Albertville now and have never had a dog, understand that you're going to need to go through the city regulations, insurance, and other cities have complete bans on pit bulls. So some cities require you have whatever, and there's different rules for every city in Alabama for everything. So just know your city's rules, know your landlord's rules, know your family outlook on dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you got a kid if you got a 2-year-old that's terrified of dogs, you're going to have to go slow. I'm saying I think you probably could get a dog, but you're going to have to get the right dog. You don't want to get a kid that's already scared and bring home a dog that bites him, and then he'll never be right. The kid will never. So, thought 10 minutes of planning can save you a lot of grief. So
absolutely, that can save a whole lot of time right there.
It can, and just
Let's talk about where you guys are located. We have less than 3 minutes left in this segment.
Wow.
Now, where are you guys located already?
It flies. We're on County Road 398, which is if you're going from Boaz, Alabama, toward east on Highway 168. As soon as you get to the Marshall DeKalb County line, you'll see a little dirt road on your right into DeKalb County, and we're the first you just turn on that road and you'll see us, hear us, smell us. All your senses will be empty. Every sense you've got except maybe feel will be. You'll know we're here.
That's true. It's a wonderful place. I love going out there.
I love it.
Whatever dog you're looking for, you're going to find it. How many animals do you guys have out there now?
We actually went below 300, but as of this morning, we're back up above. We're 301, I believe, right now. We went up to 315. It's just so difficult. We got 301 right now with that Yorkie. That it came in, it was number 301. I know I said the word Yorkie, so I don't want 15 phone calls. People want the Yorkie because he's got to get some medical attention before we do anything with him. The eyes, especially, because they're just a hair growing in them. But yeah, we're here, and we would love to come visit. Come if you like dogs and want just to really be overloaded with a lot of dogs. Come visit. We'd love to have you come out here and check us out.
And a lot of love. And if you want to volunteer for anything, what's the step? What's the process?
Basically show up. I had a phone call about 2 hours ago. An honor society student from Douglas High School is coming out, and they have to do 32 hours to be of community service to be in the honor society. And we welcome that kind of volunteer. 32 hours is really enough time to kind of get to know us. If you come here for 4 hours or whatever and volunteer, you're not going to get, it might be fun for 4 hours, but the ones that come 20, 30 hours, they really start to get what we do and become involved. And I hope that 32 hours turns into 300 hours because people do enjoy it. I mean, people really.
You'll get hooked.
Oh, I know.
Hooked going to Second Chance. I promise you that right now.
We have some great volunteers. We have a lady comes every Thursday from Arab. Her name is Terry, and she's only here like an hour and a half. She comes, cleans, helps clean what we call the BB Center where our smaller dogs is, and she leaves. Really low key, but her help is immeasurable. She's just like a staple. Next Thursday, she's going to come in. She drives from Arab over to here. She seems to enjoy it. I really haven't talked much to her because she's kind of a quiet lady, but that's what I like on the volunteer. Just come in and do your thing, bond with the dogs, and then go about your life. Come back when you can.
That's my dog timer going off. That means that we are at the end of the show. Okay, Doug, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Love it.
And thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna. I'll be seeing you next time around, so you take care.